Good morning, cadets. I welcome you back for the computer science session. And as you know, we are revising the Python Tour 1. In that, so far we have covered about the introduction part, how exact Python is introduced, what are the advantages, what are the features, what are the limitations. Then we have discussed about the tokens in Python, the smallest individual element in a program, the types of tokens like your keyword, identifier, punctuator, operators, etc. Then structure of a Python program we have seen. Then the variables, constants, literals, the assignment operators, etc. With this background, we could see the input and output simple programs to get to provide an input to a program and to get the output. So as you know, the input is a built-in function through which we can enter the values, and by default it will be stored as a string. If you want integer or float, you need to provide the keywords int and float. And then we have seen that how output can be displayed using print statement. Apart from that, we discussed the core data types of Python, isn't it? That is, let me show you that chart. This core data type we have discussed, right? That is numbers, further can be divided as integers, floating point and complex. One more was missing in this, that is a sets. We can also add as a core data type as a set. In maths we have studied about the sets. So further the integers may be in two types, integer as well as boolean. Then under sequences, strings, tuple and list, and under mappings it is the dictionary. Then we had seen under numeric types, the integers can be represented using three number systems: decimal, octal and hexadecimal. That also we have seen. The boolean, the integerals as 0 and 1, that is false and true keywords, and none is to implement or to show nothing is there, no value presents, that is indicated by the none data type. And also in brief we have discussed about the strings, tuple and apart from that mutable data types, immutable data types we had seen, isn't it, in our previous class. Then what are the properties of an object like a type, a value and an ID. Then how expressions are evaluated, maybe arithmetic, maybe relational or logical expressions. What is the precedence or priority of operators when more than one type of operators are present in the expression. Then also explained you about the typecasting, explicit type conversion, and of course we discussed about the library modules, that is about basically a math module we have discussed. Similarly in class 11th we have seen about statistics module as well as the random module. In today's class we'll discuss about further the most important component or a unit or a chapter is flow of control. The name itself suggests the flow of control. While executing a program or when writing a program, we'll write a solution for that given problem with the help of a particular statements, that how the logic flows. The logic flow means which is the first statement, which is the next statement, which is the next statement, which is the next statement, like the order of the statements to be executed. That's what we call it as a flow. So far, or there are two types basically, a sequential flow and a non-sequential flow. In case of a sequential flow, what will happen? The statements one by one in order they will be executed, no skipping, no jumping, no reverse going back, one statement at a time. Finite number of statements are to be executed. That is sequential. In a non-sequential, we need these statements like your conditional statements, your iterative or looping statements, and jump statements, etc. So let us discuss on the flow of control. What are the statements? First we have to understand. Statements are the instructions given to the computer to perform any given task. Task may be a simple calculation or checking the condition or repeating an action. Three types of statements are there: empty statement, simple statement, and compound statement. What is an empty statement? Empty statement is the simplest statement, a statement which does nothing. It is written by using a keyword pass. Whenever Python encountered pass, it does nothing and moves to the next statement in flow of control. This pass is required where syntax of Python is required, presence of a statement, but where the logic of program does. More detail will be explored with the loops. Okay, sometimes in the loops while executing we want to halt for some time. So if we take a loop pass from 1 to 100, 1 to 1000, during that period of time your program will not do anything, simply it halts. That is what? A statement which does nothing. The utility of this pass statement we'll see further. Okay. Now what is a simple statement? Any single executable statement in Python is simple statement. For example, name equal to input, enter your name. That is a simple statement. Print name, that is another simple statement. What is a compound statement? The compound statement represents a group of statements executed as a unit. The compound statement of a Python are written in a specific pattern. What is this pattern? There will be a header for that compound statement. For example, like a if, like a else, like a elif, isn't it? Like a for, like a while. That's what we call it as a compound statement header. Then there will be indented body containing multiple simple or compound statement. The body of this compound statement header, how it indicates that it is a compound statement? Then header followed by a colon. The colon means there will be a statement or set of statements following it. That is the meaning, right? So sometimes your compound statement header may contain only one statement called as a simple, or it may contain multiple statements called as a compound statement. Header which begins with the keyword or a function and ends with the colon. If there is a colon after the header, then definitely it is indicating a compound statement. A body contains of one or more Python statements, each indented inside the header line. All statements in the body or under any header must be at the same level of indentation. That is what? Okay. Example, if you want me to show the compound statement, what I will do now, I will go to ideally and I will type and show you. Okay. Let me see example of a compound statement so that you have a clear idea. Okay. Now for example, if I write if n is greater than 10 colon, this is the indentation what we call. Okay. Print something, I will give the value of n, another followed by that, print n into n, another statement, print n star n star n. This is what we call it as a compound statement. This you should be clear. Understood? Example followed by a colon, then followed by the indentation. Sometime your compound statement may have only one statement also, no problem. Okay, but this indentation is must, and if there are more than one statement, all must be below that. For example, in this if, once again I have if x is less than 100, so its indentation will start here now. For example, print x. Now see the indentation here below this if statement is having two statements, and further the if will having one more statement. So if there is a colon, then it indicates it is a compound statement, and you have to remember about the indentation, that you remember. Okay. Now let us check further. Statement flow. In Python, program statement may execute in a sequence, selectively or iteratively. Python programming support 3 control flow statements, very important: the sequence, the selection, and the iteration. Sequence, as I told, one by one, without moving anywhere, without going back, without jumping. Finite number of sequences. For example, if you write convert a given currency in dollar into rupees, so input dollar, apply the formula and print the rupees. That is a very simple sequence. Selection means conditions. There may be uniconditional, like if; there may be biconditional, that is if else; there may be multiple conditions like if, elif, etc. These all what we call them as the selection statements. And further what we have is iteration. Iteration is nothing but the repetition. Sometimes it may be required to repeat a statement or a set of statements number of times. That what we call them as a iteration. So let us try to see one by one statements after this. So the first one is the if statement. The if statement of Python is used to execute statements based on condition. It tests the condition, and if the condition is true, it performs certain action. We can also provide action for false situation also. So the if is a keyword using a some condition, so it may be a true or false. So the if says if the condition is true, what is to be done. That's why it is called as a unidirectional conditional statement. So if statement always says if it is true, what is to be done; if it is not true, what not to be done. So it will not be informed there. Therefore the if statement in Python is of many forms. Further we can see here the if without false statement, if with else, if with elif, and of course nested if. Okay, now before the further explanation of this part, I would like to stop at this point of time now. Okay, and we will continue in our next class with the meaning. Okay, bye.